जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यामुना तीरावनचारी। यामुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यामुना तीरावनचारी। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा 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 जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद। जय विष्णुपाद परम सपरिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमद चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रीदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासति गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण कपु कपिनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय। मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। जमुना माई की जय। नर्मदा माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। नमो विष्णु पादाय कृष्ण कृष्णाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन चक्षुः तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपगदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं जाग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगलिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिविकासस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मकं करति वाचालं मंगलं कृत्रिवात् वन्दे श्रीगुरुतिरुन्दरं प्रमाणतमादं श्रीचैतन्येश्वर। ओम नमो भगवते नरसिंहाय नमस्तेजस्तेजसे आविर्भव वज्रणक वज्रदंष्ट्रकर्मा श्रीं रन्धय रन्धय तमोग्रसगृस ओम स्वाहा अभयमभयमात्मनि भूयिष्ठ ओम श्रौं यदि दास्यसि मे कामान् वरांस्तं वरदर्शभ कामानां हृदय संरोहं भवतस्तु वृणेवरम् एवं जनं निपतितं प्रभवाहि कूपे कामाभिकाममनुयः प्रपदं प्रसंगात् कृत्वात्मसात् शुरर्षिणा भगवन् गृहीतः सोऽहं कथं विसृजे तव भृत्य सेवा। Hare Krishna. Welcome to all devotees for this yet another session of the online reading of the book Brahmacharya and Krishna Consciousness. So continuing to read the quotes of Srila Prabhupada, quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam, page number 147. This book Brahmacharya and Krishna Consciousness is written by His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj and published by Bhakti Vikas Trust, dedicated to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So we are continuing to read from page number 147. I will read some 2-3 paragraphs and then I will give others to read. Before continuing, I just want to confirm from devotees that whether they are able to hear me properly or not. Is my voice audible? Yes. 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 Thank you. So continuing from page number 147. The great politician Chanakya Pandit has said, Bharya Rupavati Shatru. A beautiful wife is an enemy. Of course, every woman in the eyes of her husband is very beautiful. Others may see her not very beautiful, but the husband, being very much attracted to her, sees her always a very beautiful. Always as very beautiful. If the husband sees the wife as very beautiful, it is assumed that he is too much attracted to her. This attraction is the attraction of sex. The whole world is captivated by the two modes of material nature, Rajogun and Tamogun, passion and ignorance. Generally, women are very much passionate and are less intelligent, and therefore, somehow or other, a man should not be under the control of their passion and ignorance. By performing bhakti yoga or devotional service, a man can be raised to the platform of goodness. If a husband situated in the mode of goodness can control his wife who is in passion and ignorance, the woman is benefited. Forgetting her natural inclination for passion and ignorance, the woman becomes obedient and faithful to her husband who is situated in goodness. Such a life becomes very welcome. The intelligence of a man and woman may then work very nicely together, and they can make a progressive march towards a spiritual realization. Otherwise, the husband, coming under the control of the wife, sacrifices this quality of goodness and becomes subservient to the qualities of passion and ignorance. In this way, the whole situation becomes polluted. The conclusion is that a householder life is better than a sinful life of a life devoid of responsibility. But if in household life the husband becomes subordinate to the wife, involvement in materialistic life again becomes prominent. In this way, a man's material bondage becomes enhanced. Because of this, according to the Vedic system, after a certain age, a man is recommended to abandon his family life for the stages of Vanaprastha and Sannyas. Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 27th chapter, 1st verse. Thinking of woman always within one's heart is tantamount to lying down with a woman on a valuable bedsheet. 4th canto, Bhagavatam, 27th chapter, 4th verse. In this verse, Srila Govinda Das actually says that there is no bliss in the enjoyment of youthful life. In a youth, a person becomes very lusty to enjoy all kinds of sense objects. The sense objects are form, taste, smell, touch, and sound. The modern scientific method or advancement of scientific civilization encourages the enjoyment of these five senses. The younger generation is very pleased to say beautiful form, to hear radio messages of material news and sense gratifying songs, to smell nice scents, nice flowers, and to touch the soft body or breasts of a young woman and gradually touch the sex organs. All of this is very pleasing to the animals. Therefore, in human society, there are restrictions in the enjoyment of the five sense objects. If one does not follow, he becomes exactly like an animal. Thus, in this verse, it is specifically stated, Kama Kashmala Chetasaha. The consciousness of King Puranjana was polluted by lusty desires and sinful activities. In the previous verse, it is stated that Puranjana, although advanced in consciousness, lay down on a very soft bed with his wife. This indicates that he indulged too much in sex. The words Navam Avayaha are also significant in this verse. They indicate the period of youth from age 16. Hare Krishna, Vrindavan Chatpu, Vrindavan Chatpu, Vrindavan Chatpu. You're seen on the. Sorry. They indicate the period of youth from age 16 to 30. These 13 or 15 years of life are years in which one can very, very strongly enjoy the senses. When one comes to this age, he thinks that life will go on and that he will simply continue enjoying his senses. But time and tide wait for no man. The span of youth expires very quickly. One who wastes his life simply by committing sinful activities in youth immediately becomes disappointed and disillusioned when the brief period of youth is over. The material enjoyments of youth are especially pleasing to a person who has no spiritual training. If one is trained only according to the bodily concept of life, he simply leads a disappointed life because bodily sense enjoyment finishes within 40 years or so. After 40 years, one simply leads a disillusioned life because he has no spiritual knowledge. For such a person, the expiration of youth occurs in half a moment. Thus, King Puranjana's pleasure, which he took in lying down with his wife, expired very quickly. Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 27th chapter, 5th verse. Srila Narottam Das Thakur states, Karma Kanda Jnana Kanda Kevala Vishayera Bhanda Amrita Bolya Yaba Khai Nana Yoni Shada Phire Kardaya Bakhana Kare Tara Janmadha Pate Yai. Fruitive activities and mental speculation are simply cups of poison. Whoever drinks of them, thinking them to be nectar, must struggle very hard life after life in different types of bodies. Such a person eats all kinds of nonsense and becomes condemned by his activities of so-called enjoyment. Thus, the field of action and reactions by which one's descendants are increased begins with sex life. Puranjana increased his whole family by begetting sons who in their turn begot grandsons. Thus, the living entity, being inclined towards sexual gratification, becomes involved in many hundreds and thousands of actions and reactions. In this way, he remains within the material world simply for the purpose of sense gratification and transmigrates from one body to another. His process of reproducing so many sons and grandsons results in so-called societies, nations, communities, and so on. All these communities, societies, dynasties, and nations simply expand from sex life. As stated by Prahlad Maharaj, Janmaithunadigrahamedi Sukham Hitucham. Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 9th chapter, 45th verse. A Grihmedi is one who wants to remain within this material world. This means that he wants to remain within this body or society and enjoy friendship, love, and community. His only enjoyment is in increasing the number of sex enjoyers. He enjoys sex and produces children who in their turn marry and produce grandchildren. The grandchildren also marry and in their turn produce great grandchildren. In this way, the entire earth becomes overpopulated, and then suddenly there are reactions provoked by material nature in the form of war, famine, pestilence, and earthquakes, etc. Thus, the entire population is again extinguished, simply to be recreated. This process is explained in Bhagavad Gita as repeated creation and annihilation. Bhutva bhutva pralihate. Due to lack of Krishna consciousness, all this creation and annihilation is going on under the name of human civilization. This cycle continues due to man's lack of knowledge of the soul and supreme personality of Godhead. 4th canto, 27th verse, shloka number 9. The great sage Narada Muni was a Naistika brahmachari. That is, he never had sex life. He was consequently an evergreen youth. Old age, Jara could not attack him. It requires great strength to resist a woman's attraction. It is difficult for an old man, and what to speak of the young. Those who live as brahmacharis must follow in footsteps of great sage Narada Muni, who never accepted the proposals of Jara. Those who are too much sexually addicted become victims of Jara, and very soon their lifespan is shortened. Without utilizing the human form of life for Krishna consciousness, the victims of Jara die very soon in this world. 4th canto, 27th verse, 27th chapter, 21st verse. When a man is young, he does not care for old age, but enjoys sex to the best of his satisfaction, not knowing that at the end of the life his sexual indulgence will bring on various diseases which so much disturb the body that one will pray for immediate death. The more one enjoys sex during the youth, the more he suffers in old age. 4th canto, 28th verse, 28th chapter, shloka number 1. So I would like to request Vivek ji to continue to read from page number 151.
Um, 151, yeah. At the fag end of life, when the invalidity of old age attacks a man, his body becomes useless for all purposes. Therefore, Vedic training dictates that when a man is in his boyhood, he should be trained in the process of brahmacharya. That is, he should be completely engaged in the service of the Lord and should not in any way associate with women. 4th canto, 28th chapter, 3rd verse. Due to his contaminated association with women, a living entity like King Puranjana eternally suffers all the pangs of material existence and remains in the dark region of material life, bereft of all remembrance for many, many years. This is a description of material existence. Material existence is experienced when one becomes attached to a woman and forgets his real identity as the eternal servant of Krishna. Nashta Smriti. In this way, in one body after another, the living entity perpetually suffers the threefold miseries of material existence. To save human civilization from the darkness of ignorance, this movement was started. The main purpose of Krishna consciousness movement is to enlighten the forgetful living entity and remind him of his original Krishna consciousness. In this way, the living entity can be saved from the catastrophe of ignorance as well as bodily transmigration. As Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung, Anadi karma phale padi bhavar nava jale tari bare na dekhi upaya ए विषय हलाहले दिवानिशी हिया ज्वले मन कभु सुख नाहि पाया. Because of my past fruitive activities, I have now fallen into an ocean of nuisance. I cannot find any means to get out of this great ocean, which is indeed like an ocean of poison. We are trying to be happy through sense enjoyment, but actually, that so called enjoyment is like food that is too hot and causes burning in the heart. I feel a burning sensation constantly, day and night, and thus my mind cannot find satisfaction. Material existence is always full of anxiety. People are always trying to find many ways to mitigate anxiety, but because they are not guided by a real leader, they try to forget material anxiety through drink and sex indulgence. Foolish people do not know that by attempting to escape anxiety by drink and sex, they simply increase the duration of material life. It is not possible to escape material anxiety in this way. The word The word pramada, sanga dusita, indicates that apart from all other contamination, if one simply remains attached to a woman, that single contamination will be sufficient to prolong one's miserable material existence. Consequently, in Vedic civilization, one is trained from the beginning to give up attachment for women. The first stage of life is brahmachari, the second stage grihastha, the third stage vanaprastha, and the fourth stage sannyasa. All these stages are devised to enable one to detach himself from the association of women. Fourth canto, 28th chapter, 27th verse. We can definitely see that to advance in Krishna consciousness, one must control his bodily weight. If one becomes too fat, it is to be assumed that he is not advancing spiritually. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur severely criticized his fat disciples. The idea is that one who intends to advance in Krishna consciousness must not eat very much. Devotees used to go to forests, high hills, or mountains on pilgrimages, but such severe austerities are not possible in these days. One should instead eat only prasada and no more than required. According to the Vaishnava calendar, there are many fasts such as Ekadashi and the appearance and disappearance days of God and his devotees. All of these are meant to decrease the fat within the body so that one will not sleep more than desired and will not become inactive and lazy. Overindulgence in food will cause a man to sleep more than required. This human form of life is meant for austerity, and austerity means controlling sex, food intake, etc. In this way, time can be saved for spiritual activity, and one can purify himself both externally and internally. Thus, both body and mind can be cleansed. 4th canto, 28th chapter, 36th verse. By too much attachment for women, one becomes in a one becomes a woman in the next life. But a person who associates with the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his representative becomes free from all material attachments and is thus liberated. 4th canto, 29th chapter, 1st verse. The desires for sexual satisfaction are meant for the Arvak, the lowest among men. 4th canto, 29th chapter, 14th verse. My dear king, please search out that deer who is engaged in eating grass in a very nice flower garden along with his wife. The deer is very much attached to his business and he is enjoying the sweet singing of the bumblebees in his garden. Just try to understand his position. He is unaware that before him is a tiger which is accustomed to living at the cost of another's flesh. Behind the deer is a hunter who is threatening to pierce him with sharp arrows. Thus, the deer's death is imminent. Here is an allegory in which the king is advised to find a deer that is always in dangerous position. Although threatened from all sides, the deer simply eats grass in a nice flower garden, unaware of the danger all around him. All living entities, especially human beings, think themselves very happy in the midst of families, as if living in a flower garden and hearing the sweet humming of bumblebees. Everyone is centered around his wife, who is the beauty of family life. The bumblebee's humming may be compared to the talk of children. The human being, just like the deer, enjoys his family without knowing that before him is a factor of time, which is represented by the tiger. The fruitive activities of living entity simply create another dangerous position and oblige him to accept different types of bodies. For a deer to run after a mirage of water in the desert is not unusual. The deer is also very fond of sex. The conclusion is that one who lives like a deer will be killed in due course of time. Vedic literatures therefore advise that we should understand our constitutional position and take to devotional service before death comes. According to Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 9th chapter, 29th verse.
लब्ध्वा सुदुर्लभमिदं बहुसंभवान्ते मानुष्यमर्थदम् अनित्यमपीह धीर तूर्णं यतेत न पतेदमनुरुत्य यावान् निःश्रेयसाय विषये खलु सर्वतः स्यात्. Yes, continue.
After many births, we have attained this human form. Therefore, before death comes, we should engage ourselves in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. That is the fulfillment of human life. 4th canto 29 chapter 53rd verse, text and purport. My dear king, woman who is very attractive in the beginning but in the end very disturbing is exactly like the flower which is attractive in the beginning and detestable at the end. With women, the living entity is entangled with lusty desires and he enjoys sex just as one enjoys the aroma of a flower. He thus enjoys a life of sense gratification from his tongue to his genitals. And in this way, the living entity considers himself very happy in family life. United with his wife, he always remains absorbed in such thoughts. He feels great pleasure in hearing the talks of his wife and children, which are like the sweet humming of bumblebees that collect honey from the flower to flower. He forgets that before him is the time, which is taking away his lifespan with the passing of the day and night. He does not see the gradual diminishing of his life, nor does he care about the superintendent of death, who is trying to kill him from behind. Just try to understand this. You are in a precarious position and are threatened from all sides. Materialistic life means forgetting one's constitutional position as the eternal servant of Krishna. And this forgetfulness is especially enhanced in the Grihastha Ashrama. In the Grihastha Ashrama, a young man accepts a young wife who is very beautiful in the beginning, but in the due course of time, after giving birth to many children and becoming older and older, she demands many things from the husband to maintain the entire family. At such a time, the wife becomes detestable to the very man who accepted her in her younger days. One becomes attached to the Grihastha ashrama for two reasons only. The wife cooks palatable dishes for the satisfaction of her husband's tongue, and she gives him sexual pleasure at night. A person attached to the Grihastha ashrama is always thinking of these two things: palatable food and sex enjoyment. The talks of the wife, which are enjoyed as a family recreation, and the talks of the children both attract the living entity. He thus forgets that he has to die someday and has to prepare for the next life if he wants to be put into a congenial body. The deer in the flower garden is an allegory used by great sage Narada to point out to the king that the king himself is similarly entrapped by such surroundings. Actually, everyone is surrounded by such a family life which misleads one. The living entity thus forgets that he has to return home back to Godhead. He simply becomes entangled in family life. Prahlad Maharaja has therefore hinted, Hitvatma patam griham andakupam vanam gato yad dharim ashrayata. Family life is considered a blind well, andakupam, into which a person falls and dies without help. Prahlad Maharaja recommends that while one's senses are there and one is strong enough, he should abandon the Grihastha ashrama and take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, going to the forest of Vrindavana. According to Vedic civilization, one has to give up family life at certain age, the age of 50, take Vanaprastha, and eventually remain alone as sannyasi. That is prescribed method of Vedic civilization known as Varnashrama Dharma. When one takes sannyasa after enjoying family life, he pleases the Supreme Lord Vishnu. One has to understand one's position in family or worldly life. That is called intelligence. One should not remain always trapped in family life to satisfy his tongue and genitals in association with the wife. In such a way, one simply spoils his life. According to Vedic civilization, it is imperative to give up the family at a certain age by force if necessary. Unfortunately, so called followers of Vedic life do not give up their family even at the end of life unless they are forced by death. There should be a thorough overhauling of the social system, and society should revert to the Vedic principles, that is, the four Varnas and the four Ashramas. 4th Canto, 29th chapter, 54th verse, text and purport. My dear king, just try to understand the allegorical position of the deer. Be fully conscious of yourself and give up the pleasure of hearing about promotion to heavenly planets by fruitive activity. Give up household life, which is full of sex, as well as stories about such things, and take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the mercy of the liberated souls. In this way, please give up your attraction for material existence.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Shivakumarji, you can read.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Being in the Grihastha ashrama means being under the control of one's wife.
You
One
need
has
to you need to speak little bit loudly, because unless and until I keep my headphones so close to my ears, I'm not able to hear your voice. So you can just speak little bit loudly, Prabhu. Sorry.
okay Prabhu, okay. Being in the Grihastha ashrama means being under the control of one's wife. One has to give up all this and put himself in the ashrama of the Paramahamsa, that is, put himself under the control of the spiritual master. The whole world is in Maya, being controlled by women. Not only is one controlled by the woman who is one's wife, but one is also controlled by so many sex literatures. That is the cause of one's being entangled in the material world. One cannot give up this abominable association through one's own effort, but if one takes shelter of a bona fide spiritual master who is a Paramahamsa, he will gradually be elevated to the platform of spiritual life. 4th Canto, 29th chapter, 55th verse, text and purport. The basic flaw in modern civilization is that boys and girls are given freedom during school and college to enjoy sex life. 4th Canto, 31st chapter, 1st verse. How a beautiful woman's movements and gestures, her hair and the structure of her breasts, hips, and other bodily features attract the minds not only of men but of demigods also. Not only of men but of demigods also is very finely described in this statement. The words Dvija and Divija and Manuja specifically emphasize that the attraction of feminine gestures is powerful everywhere within this material world, both on this planet and in the higher planetary systems. It is said that the standard of living in the higher planetary systems is thousands and thousands of times higher than the standard of living on this planet. Therefore, the beautiful bodily features of the women there are also thousands and thousands of times more attractive than the features of the women on earth. The Creator has constructed women in such a way that their beautiful voices and movements and the beautiful features of their hips Their breasts and the other parts of their bodies attract the members of the opposite sex both on earth and on other planets and awaken their lusty desires. When one is controlled by Cupid or the beauty of women, he becomes stunned like matter such as stone. Captivated by the material movements of women, he wants to remain in this material world. Thus, one's promotion to the spiritual world is checked simply by seeing the beautiful bodily structure and movements of women. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore warned all devotees to beware of the attraction of beautiful women and materialistic civilization. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu even refused to see Prataparudra Maharaja because he was a very opulent person in the material world. Lord Chaitanya said in this connection, Nishkinchanasya Bhagavat Bhajanonmukasya. Those who are engaged in the devotional service of the Lord because they are very serious about going back home, back to Godhead, should be very careful to avoid seeing the beautiful gestures of women and should also avoid seeing persons who are very rich. Nishkinchanasya Bhagavat Bhajanonmukasya Param Param Jigamshor Bhavasagarasya Sandarshanam विषयिणाम् आतयोषितां च हा हन्त हन्त विषभक्षणतोऽपि असाधु. Alas, for a person who is seriously desiring to cross the material ocean and engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord without material motives, seeing a materialist engaged in sense gratification or seeing a woman who is similarly interested is more abominable than drinking poison willingly. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 11:8. One who is serious about going back home, back to Godhead, should not contemplate the attractive features of women and the opulence of rich men. Such contemplation will check one's advancement in spiritual life. Once a devotee is fixed in Krishna consciousness, however, these attractions will not agitate his mind. Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 2nd chapter, 6th verse. नूनं प्रमस्तः कुरुते विकर्म यद् इन्द्रिया प्रीतया आप्नोति न साधु मन्ये यत आत्मनोऽयम् असन् अपि क्लेशद आसदेहः. When a person considers sense gratification the aim of life, he certainly becomes mad after materialistic living and engages in all kinds of sinful activity. He does not know that due to his past misdeeds, he has already received a body which, although temporary, is the cause of his misery. Actually, the living entity should not have taken on a material body, but he has been awarded the material body for sense gratification. Therefore, I think it not befitting an intelligent man to involve himself again in the activities of sense gratification by which he perpetually gets material bodies one after another. Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 5th chapter and 4th verse. Text. Pumsah striya mituni bhavam etam तयोर्मितो हृदय ग्रंथिम आहुः अतो गृहक्षेत्र सुताप्त वित्तैर जनस्य मोहोयम aham mameti. The attraction between male and female is the basic principle of material existence. On the basis of this misconception, which ties together the hearts of the male and female, one becomes attracted to his body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. In this way, one increases life's illusions and thinks in terms of I and mine. Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 5th chapter, and 8th verse. A grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyasi, and brahmachari should be very careful when associating with women. One is forbidden to sit down in a solitary place even with one's mother, sister, or daughter. In our Krishna consciousness movement, it has been very difficult to disassociate ourselves from women in our society, especially in Western countries. We are therefore sometimes criticized, but nonetheless, we are trying to give everyone a chance to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and thus advance spiritually. If we stick to the principle of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra offenselessly, then by the grace of Sri Haridasa Thakura, we may be saved from the allurement of women. However, if we are not very strict in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we may at any time fall victim to women. Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 6th chapter, 3rd verse. In this material world, family life is an institution of sex. Yan maitunadi grihamedi sukham. Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 9th chapter, 45th verse. Through sex, the father and mother beget children, and the children get married and go down the same path of sexual life. After the death of the father and mother, the children get married and beget their own children. Thus, generation after generation, these things go on in the same way without anyone's attaining liberation from the embarrassment of material life. No one accepts the spiritual process of knowledge and renunciation, which end in bhakti yoga. Actually, human life is meant for jnana and vairagya, knowledge and renunciation. Through these, one can attain the platform of devotional service. Unfortunately, people in this age avoid the association of liberated people, sadhu sangha, and continue in their stereotyped way of family life. Thus, they are embarrassed by the exchange of money and sex. Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 13th chapter, 14th verse. Being cheated by them, the living entity in the forest of the material world tries to give up the association of these so called yogis, swamis, and incarnations and come to the association of real devotees. But due to misfortune, he cannot follow the instructions of the spiritual master or advanced devotees. Therefore, he gives up their company and again returns to the association of monkeys who are simply interested in sense gratification and women. He derives satisfaction by association with sense gratifiers and enjoys sex and intoxication. Looking into the faces of other sense gratifiers, he becomes forgetful and thus approaches death. Sometimes a foolish person becomes disgusted with bad association and comes to the association of devotees and brahmanas and takes initiation from a spiritual master. As advised by the spiritual master, he tries to follow the regulative principles, but due to misfortune, he cannot follow the instructions of the spiritual master. He therefore gives up the company of devotees and goes to associate with sinful people who are simply interested in sex and intoxication. Those who are so called spiritualists are compared to monkeys. Outwardly, monkeys sometimes resemble sadhus because they live naked in the forest and pick fruits, but their only desire is to keep many female monkeys and enjoy sex life. Sometimes so called spiritualists seeking a spiritual life come to associate with Krishna conscious devotees, but they cannot execute the regulative principles or follow the path of spiritual life. Consequently, they leave the association of devotees and go to associate with sense gratifiers who are compared to monkeys. Again, they revive their sex and intoxication, and looking at one another's faces, they are thus satisfied. In this way, they pass their lives up to the point of death. Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 13th chapter, 17th verse, text and purport. When the living entity becomes exactly like a monkey jumping from one branch to another, he remains in the tree of household life without any profit but sex. Thus, he is kicked by his wife just like the he has. Unable to gain release, he remains helplessly in that position. Sometimes he falls victim to an incurable disease, which is like falling into a mountain cave. He becomes afraid of death, which is like the elephant in the back of that cave, and he remains stranded, grasping at the twigs and branches of a creeper. The precarious condition of a householder's life is described herein. A householder's life is full of misery, and the only attraction is sex with the wife, who kicks him during sexual intercourse, just as the she as does her maid. Due to continuous sex life, he falls victim to many incurable diseases. At that time, being afraid of death, which is like an elephant, he remains hanging from the twigs and branches of the tree just like a monkey. Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 13th chapter, 18th verse, text and purport. My dear king, family members in this material world go under the names of wife and children, but actually they behave like tigers and jackals. A herdsman tries to protect his sheep to the best of his ability, but the tigers and foxes take them away by force. Similarly, although a miserly man wants to guard his money very carefully, his family members take away all his assets forcibly, even though he is very vigilant. One Hindi poet has sung, दिन का दकिनी रात का भगिनी पालक पालक रघुकुसे. During the daytime, the wife is compared to a witch, and at night she is compared to a tigress. Her only business is sucking the blood of her husband both day and night. During the day, there are household expenditures, and the money earned by the husband and the cost of his blood is taken away. At night, due to sex pleasure, the husband discharges blood in the form of semen. In this way, he is bled by his wife both day and night, yet he is so crazy that he very carefully maintains her. Similarly, the children are also like tigers, jackals, and foxes. As tigers, jackals, and foxes take away lambs despite the herdsman
अब
vigilant protection,
आप
children
क्यों
take
आते हैं
children take away the father's money,
तो अंदर उस तरह जैसे
although the father supervises the money himself. Thus, family members may be called wives and children, but actually they are plunderers. Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 14th chapter, 3rd verse, text and purport.
Okay, Prabhuji. I will request some other devotees to read. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Yes, Shubhankar ji, you can read. Hare Krishna, you able to hear me?
Yes, bro. Every year the plowman plows over his grain. Every year the plowman plows over his grain field, completely uprooting all weeds. Nonetheless, the seeds lie there and not being completely burned, again come up with the plants sown in the field. Even after being plowed under, the weeds come up densely. Similarly, the Grihastha ashrama, family life, is a field of fruitive activity. Unless the desire to enjoy family life is completely burned up, it grows up again and again. Even though camphor may be removed from a pot, the pot nonetheless restrains the aroma of camphor. As long as the seeds of desire are not destroyed, fruitive activities are not destroyed. Unless one's desires are completely transferred to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the desire for family life continues, even after one has taken sannyasa. Sometimes, in our society, ISKCON, a person out of sentiment may take sannyasa, but because his desires are not burned completely, he again takes to family life, even at the risk of losing his prestige and disgracing his good name. These strong desires can be burned out completely when one fully engages in the service of the Lord in the devotional service. 5th Canto, 14th chapter, 4th verse, text and purport. Sometimes, as if blinded by the dust of a whirlwind, the conditioned soul sees the beauty of the opposite sex, which is called pramada. Being thus bewildered, he is raised up in the lap of a woman, and at the time his good senses are overcome by the force of passion. He thus becomes almost blind with lusty desire, and disobeys the rules and regulations governing sex life. He does not know that his disobedience is witnessed by different demigods, and he enjoys illicit sex in the dead of night, not seeing the future punishment awaiting him. In Bhagavad Gita 7 chapter 11th canto it is stated, Dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamasmi bharatarshava. Sex is allowed only for the begetting of children, not for enjoyment. One can indulge in sex to beget a good child for the benefit of the family, society, and world. Otherwise, sex is against the rules and regulations of religious life. A materialistic person does not believe that everything is managed in nature, and he does not know that if one does something wrong, he is witnessed by different demigods. A person enjoys illicit sex, and due to his blind, lusty desire, he thinks that no one can see him, but this illicit sex is thoroughly observed by the agents of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the person is punished in so many ways. Presently in Kali Yuga, there are many pregnancies due to illicit sex, and sometimes abortions ensue. These sinful activities are witnessed by the agents of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and a man and woman who create such situation are punished in the future by the stringent laws of material nature. Devi hi gunamai mama maya durattaya. Illicit sex is never excused, and those who indulge in it are punished life after life. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 16 chapter 20th verse, Asuring yonim apanna mudha janmani janmani mam aprapyaiva kaunteya tato yanti adhamang gatim. Attaining repeated birth among the species of demoniac life, such persons can never approach me. Gradually they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. The Supreme Personality of Godhead does not allow someone to act against the stringent laws of material nature. Therefore, illicit sex is punished life after life. Illicit sex creates pregnancies, and these unwanted pregnancies lead to abortion. Those involved becomes implicated in these sins, so much so that they are punished in the same way the next life. Thus, in the next life, they also enter the womb of a mother and are killed in the same way. All these things can be avoided by remaining on the transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness. In this way, one does not commit sinful activity. Illicit sex is the most prominent sin due to lusty desire. When one associates with the mode of passion, he is implicated in suffering life after life. 5th Canto, 14th chapter, 9th verse, text and purport. The conditioned soul is sometimes attracted to the little happiness derived from sense gratification. Thus he has illicit sex or steal another's property. At such a time, he may be arrested by the government or chastised by the woman's husband or protector. Thus simply for a little material satisfaction, he falls into a hellish condition and is put into jail for rape, kidnapping, theft, and so forth. Material life is such that due to indulgence in illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, and meat eating, the conditioned soul is always in a dangerous condition. Meat eating and intoxication excite the senses more and more, and the conditioned soul falls victim to women. In order to keep women, money is required, and to acquire money one begs, borrows, or steals. Indeed, he commits abominable acts that cause him to suffer both in this life and in the next. Consequently, illicit sex must be stopped by those who are spiritually inclined or who are on the path of spiritual realization. Many devotees fall down due to illicit sex. They may steal money and even fall down from the highly honored renounced order. Then, for a livelihood, they accept menial services and become beggars. It is therefore said in the Shastra, Yan maithunadi grihamedi sukhang hitucham. Materialism is based on sex, whether illicit or illicit. Sex is full of dangers, even for those who are addicted to household life. Whether one has a license for sex or not, there is great trouble. Bahu dukha bhak. After one indulges in sex, many volumes of miseries ensue. One suffers more and more in the material life. A miserly person cannot properly utilize the wealth he has, and similarly, a materialistic person Text and purport. Sometimes the conditioned soul is attracted by illusion personified, his wife or girlfriend, and becomes eager to be embraced by a woman. Thus he loses his intelligence as well as knowledge of life's goal. At that time, no longer attempting spiritual cultivation, he becomes overly attached to his wife or girlfriend and tries to provide her with a suitable apartment. Again, he becomes very busy under the shelter of that home and is captivated by the talks, glances, and activities of his wife and children. In this way, he loses his Krishna consciousness and throws himself in the dense darkness of material existence. When the conditioned soul is embraced by his beloved wife, he forgets everything about Krishna consciousness. The more he becomes attached to his wife, the more he becomes implicated in family life. One Bengali poet, Bankim Chandra, says that to the eyes of the lover, the beloved is always very beautiful, even though ugly. This attraction is called Deva Maya. The attraction between man and woman is the cause of bondage for both. Actually, both belong to the Para Prakriti, the superior energy of the Lord, but both are actually Prakriti, female. However, because both want to enjoy one another, they are sometimes described as Purusha, male. Actually, neither is Purusha, but both can be superficially described as Purusha. As soon as man and woman are united, they become attached to home, hearth, land, friendship, and money. In this way, they are both entrapped in material existence. The word Bhujalata Upaguraha, meaning being embraced by beautiful arms which are compared to creepers, describes the way the conditioned soul is bound within this material world. The products of sex life, sons and daughters, certainly follow. This is the way of material existence. 5th Canto, 14th chapter, 28th verse. Text and purport. The pseudo-swamis, yogis, and incarnations who do not believe in the Supreme Personality of Godhead are known as Pashandis. They themselves are fallen and cheated because they do not know the real path of spiritual advancement, and whoever goes to them is certainly cheated in his turn. When one is thus cheated, he sometimes takes shelter of the real followers of Vedic principles, Brahmanas or those in Krishna consciousness, who teach everyone how to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to the Vedic rituals. However, being unable to stick to these principles, these rascals again fall down and take shelter among Shudras, who are very expert in making arrangements for sex indulgence. Sex is very prominent among animals like monkeys, and such people who are enlivened by sex may be called descendants of monkeys. By fulfilling the process of evolution from the aquatics to the animal platform, a living entity eventually reaches the human form. The three modes of material nature are always working in the evolutionary process. Those who come to the human form through the quality of sattva guna were cows in the last animal incarnation. Those who come to the human form through the quality of Rajaguna were lions in the last animal incarnation, and those who come to the human form through the quality of Tamoguna were monkeys in their last animal incarnation. In this age, those who come through the monkey species are considered by modern anthropologists like Darwin to be descendants of monkeys. We receive information herein that those who are simply interested in sex are actually no better than monkeys. Monkeys are very expert in sexual enjoyment, and sometimes sex glands are taken from monkeys and placed in the human body so that a human being can enjoy sex in old age. In this way, modern civilization has advanced. Many monkeys in India were caught and sent to Europe so that sex glands could serve as replacements for those of old people. Those who actually descend from the monkeys are interested in expanding their aristocratic families through sex. In the Vedas, there are also certain ceremonies especially meant for sexual improvement and promotion to higher planetary systems, while the demigods are enjoying sex. The demigods are also very much inclined towards sex because that is the basic principle of material enjoyment. First of all, the conditioned soul is cheated by so-called swamis, yogis, and incarnations when he approaches them to be relieved of material miseries.
When the conditioned soul is not satisfied with them, he comes to devotees and pure Brahmanas who try to elevate him for final liberation from material bondage. However, the unscrupulous conditioned soul cannot rigidly follow the principles of prohibiting illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating. Thus, he falls down and takes shelter of people who are like monkeys. In the Krishna conscious movement, these monkey disciples, being unable to follow the strict regulative principles, sometimes fall down and try to form societies based on sex. This is the proof that such people are descendants of monkeys, as confirmed by Darwin. In this verse, it is therefore clearly stated, Yatha Banara Yate, Yatha Banara Jatehe, 5th canto, 14th chapter, 30th verse.
One second. You can continue. You can complete that particular entanglement.
Entanglement in family life is the root cause of material attachment. Indefatigable desires, moroseness, anger, despair, fear, and the desire for false prestige, all of which result in the repetition of birth and death. 5th canto, 8th chapter, 14th verse text.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna. So, time is up. We will end our session over here and meet tomorrow at the same time at 8 o'clock. And I would request devotees to please attend. Don't forget. And we have uploaded on the YouTube also. We have our channel, Bhakti Vikas Trust channel, and we have the playlist. Whatever recordings are there, if devotees have it, they have read it, that's fine. If they want to send it, they can send this one also to share it to devotees. And one more thing is that maybe tomorrow, day after tomorrow, we will pass on a poll wherein devotees will be asked that what would be the next book you want to suggest. So if you have any suggestions, please put up in the chat box, or please put in the WhatsApp chat group also, if what book you want us to read, so that we will all read that book. There's so many books of Maharaj in English, so we will like to read those books. And so we'll stop here. Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav. Oh, thank you. It's difficult. Maybe we'll see, because we are going to read only those books which we have the stock, so that we can distribute those books. Everybody wants Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav, but Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav we don't have the books. It is under print. Printing is going on that book, so it will take time for the book to come. Speaking strongly in Srila Prabhupada's service, that we have already read, but we can read once more also. That recordings playlist is there on the website, on our YouTube channel. You can go and see them. Okay, if anybody has any questions, then they may post it on the chat box or in question box. Else, we will stop here. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is Prabhupada's book. That's fine. That is nice. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, devotees. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindebhyo vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Dante nidhaya trinakam padayor nipatya kritva cha kakushatam etadaham bravimi sadava sakalami vyaya dhurat chaitanya chandra charane kurutanu ragat. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindebhyo vacha patitanam pavanebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.